kill her off. Next slide. How can these doctors and nurses do this? How can they, as human beings, take our lives? We were just taking the orders. The orders came from the top of the administration. The administration is the hospital administration. The superintendents of the government told us we must do this or we will lose our jobs. We don't want to lose our jobs. Plus, we were also getting a little kickback. Some of us were. So it's okay. This is what it looks like, doing your job. So, spring, summer of 21, I was getting phone calls from some friends saying that my wife's in the hospital. I'm going to bring grandma into the hospital. I say, hey, whatever you do, I'm listening to Dr. Brian Artis. I'm listening to Children's Health Defense. I'm listening to, Tom Rentz. I'm listening to Lee Dundas. I'm listening to all of our freedom fighters. And they're saying there's something going on in the hospitals. I wouldn't go. Do everything you can not to go or get them out. They're in there. They're getting remdesivir. I don't know what it is, but go look it up. If they're getting remdesivir, get them out. They're getting remdesivir. Get them out now. And guess what? They listened to me and they got out. I didn't think anything of it. Until James Bradley, who I was a campaign manager for when he was running for Congress against Ted Lieu, and we know he won. He introduced, he had a frantic phone call from Heidi Bond out of Fresno. My best friend, all of a sudden I hear this, my best friend, can you help? Heidi Bond, please come forward. My best friend, she says, can you help? And I thought, well, I've been helping everybody else. I can certainly help Heidi Bond out and her best friend.
Yes, and she did, and that's the first time that I heard the words remdesivir. We had no idea what remdesivir was. My best friend was admitted into Clovis Community Hospital on August 4th. And yes, so my best friend, Lupe Espinoza, was admitted into Clovis Community Hospital on August 4th, 2021, and she was discharged into the morgue on September 28th, 2021. She was administered 121 drugs, a lot of them multiple times. She took pictures of her demise. Her arms were
okay, next slide, please.
Black and blue.
She took pictures of her being killed so that we have this today. She has evidence for us.
These are the list of drugs, 121 different drugs, many of them used multiple times. These are pictures she took with her own cell phone in the hospital room because nobody was allowed in. She was by herself. That's a picture of her, very beautiful, in her 40s, young son, me and her, and this picture here is 1,800 pages, 3,800 pages of her medical records for a healthy woman in her 40s.
We're sharing these stories because they're real. If they haven't happened to you yet, it's very close. It's getting closer and closer and closer. And that's why we're trying to stop and hold the gates of hell back so none of you have to deal with what Heidi has gone through. We have another testimonial from a nurse, Brittany, who lost her grandmother. And Brittany's here today to tell us a little bit about what they did. Again, hospital protocols, if you mind coming up. Hospital protocols kept advocates out of the hospital to advocate for their family members. It kept them away from being there to support their family members. We had the elderly who had to die by themselves. People who are on death row are treated more humane than what our plaintiffs and what some of you probably had to deal with. And here's Brittany to share her story.
My grandma, Jo, she was 78 years young, and just a month prior, we were just in Cambria on the beach running with my 2 girls, and she was healthy and had no medical issues, and she got sick at the end of August, her and my grandpa, who was 90 at the time. And I'm a nurse, and my mom and I moved in to take care of them, and we were doing all the things that we knew. We did the best with what we knew at the time, and trying to keep her out of the hospital because we knew a little bit. We knew a little bit, and we knew about remdesivir. We didn't really know what it was, but we knew not to give it. We were giving ivermectin. We were giving vitamin C and quercetin and zinc and D3 and all these things. And around day 10, she took a turn. And she just couldn't get a deep breath, and I had no access to oxygen. So I said, okay, it's time to go. So we were trying to go to an outlying urgent care to avoid the hospital, but she wasn't gonna make it. So I called 911, and they took her by ambulance. And as they wheeled her in, I honestly thought, I'll see her in a couple days. She just needs a little bit of oxygen and maybe some fluids, and that was the last time that I saw her. For 6 hours, my uncle and I sat in the parking lot waiting to hear a word, to see how she was. They completely cut us off from communication. I had to get the house supervisor on day 1 just to find out how she was doing. From there, she fought for 30 days, and she passed on October 2nd, 2021. We never were able to see her body. She was intubated when her SATs were 88 without being asked or told. We had to fight for vitamin C. We had to fight for basic care, basic medications that were supposed to be given to help support our body's ability to fight. We had a doctor order budesonide because we asked for it, and the pharmacy wouldn't fill it. The pharmacy is denying the doctor's orders. So we insisted, and he said, well, the family's demanding it. So 5 days later, they started, along with a PO vitamin C at 500 milligrams, as she's intubated.
500.
That's not a lot.
That is nothing. It's nothing. That's what they administered. We fought tooth and nail. We were care conferenced and talked down to. I couldn't get information. I'm a nurse, so I know when to call. I give grace and understanding. I prayed for every doctor and nurse and patient, whether they liked it or not. And I've never felt such utter darkness. It was tangible. What's happening is inhumane. It's not healthcare. It's completely disgusting what's going on. We almost got arrested trying to go in and see her. Come to find out, after fighting for her records, it's another thing too. You can only fight when you're given information that's accurate. And we were given a fraction of what was actually going on. 3,400 pages later, we found out that they blew out her lung. She had a pneumothorax. No one told us that. She had 2 different pressure ulcers, probably more, that required debridement and wound nursing, treatments because of incontinence. Well, they weren't taking care of her. On and on and on and on. And the list of medications is absolutely insane. Not one body could take on the level, the amount, the consistency, the frequency, and the toxic medications. There's no way anyone can survive that.
And I find it interesting how they know exactly when our loved one's heart was going to stop.
Yes. Yes.
It's happening all over. They call you in, your loved one's going to die today.
Yeah.
How do they know exactly when you're going to die? Well, Lupe's medical records exposed that. She was given midazolam the whole month of September, but for 2 days before she passed, she was given it every hour on the hour. Midazolam is a drug that they give to execute criminals.
I had a doctor tell me the day before she passed, he was so kind, I'll never forget his name, and he said, I'm going to be frank with you, your grandma's dying and I don't think she'll be alive by 3 o'clock today. So we proceed to go down to the hospital saying, well, we want to see her. You said that during end-of-life care we could visit, and they would not let us in. They lied, the chaplain lied and said, we'll call you tomorrow about visitation, and then she passed that following day.
Stay up here.